This is Letter to Sons. I'm Doug Keating. Today, I'm going to share Billboard to Me number 41. Play to the end to win. If you don't know what a billboard to me is, no worries. I'll put a link to another video where I share what a billboard to me is and why I have returned to this format for content. Let me start with a little context. I grew up in Northern Virginia. After completing high school, I was lucky enough to be accepted into the University of Virginia. Why do I say lucky? Since I graduated, UVA has become one of the top public universities in the entire country. It is super hard to get into. Not sure I would make the cut these days. The other thing worth noting is that I'm a huge sports fan. I actually have 2 degrees from UVA, so you better believe there's only one school I root for when it comes to college sports, UVA. If you were to ask any University of Virginia sports fan what is the worst day in the history of UVA sports, I think most would point to this day, March 16th, 2018. At that time, the men's basketball team was flying high, ranked number 1 in the country. Enter the NCAA men's basketball tournament, aka March Madness, as the overall number 1 seed, with many predicting they would win the national championship. The team is that good. When you're ranked number 1, your first game is against the worst team in the bracket, number 16. In this case, a college most people never heard of before, UMBC, out of the University of Maryland school system. What was supposed to happen is UVA is supposed to win and just keep winning and raise the trophy at the end of the tournament. What happened next was inconceivable. UVA not only lost to UMBC, you see the score here, we got our asses kicked and lost by 20 points. This is the worst loss in the history of that tournament. A dark, dark day for UVA sports fans. Fast forward a year to 2019. Once again, University of Virginia men's basketball team is in the March Madness tournament. This time though, expectations are lower and the team's not as good as before. Many pundits think, oh, they're just gonna get flushed. Don't put them in your bracket, they will be a bust. Boy, were they wrong. The Cavaliers show up and go on a win streak, beating some great teams and needing overtime to win the national championship and raise the trophy. This is definitely the biggest redemption story in UVA sports history and one of the best in sports in general, if you ask me. Think about it. Within 1 year, they went from the worst loss to being the champions. And it is hard to win the NCAA men's basketball championship. UVA actually has many, many national championships. This one by alum is considered the most special because it is so hard to win, and it is the only time my school has won this trophy. Inspired by the UVA men's basketball team winning the national championship, I wrote Billboard to Me number 41. Here's what it says. You must play well in the final minutes to win a game. Even better in overtime for the championship. Why I wrote this billboard. It was easy to get caught up in the hoopla and celebration after UVA won this trophy. I thought about what was the road they had to travel to get to the top. Amazing story of grit, determination, teamwork. Think about the demons they had to exercise from the year before. If you watch footage from the games, they get tougher as you go along in the tournament, and UVA had to beat some really good teams. It was a combination of luck, grit, and some awesome plays by some of their best players. They needed overtime in the championship game to pull it all off. I think that's really worth considering when it comes to my own life as far as what does it take to win? How I incorporated this billboard into my life. If I want to achieve great things and win in life, it is going to be hard. I'm going to have to play to the end and sometimes be willing to go into overtime. One game during their tournament in particular comes to mind where UVA was down by several points, not much time on the clock, and they easily could have come together as a group and said, you know what, today's just not our day. We're gonna lose. They didn't. Instead, they stuck to it, came together, and pulled off what many believe was a miracle win. That's the way I want to think about my life too, which is to keep going, play to the end, be willing to go into overtime if I want to achieve great things. Let me wrap up this video by asking, what about you? Have you had a major setback? I think all of us do at some point in our life. Have you come back from it? Are you willing to play to the end and go into overtime if necessary to achieve great things, return to glory, and raise the trophy?